everyone. I'm Diana, a sophomore majoring in psychology at Columbia University. Welcome back to Cozy English Stories, your quiet corner to listen, learn, and grow together. Today, I'm inviting you into my world on Morningside Heights, from the subway ride beneath the city streets to my late-night study sessions in Butler Library. I'll walk you through every step, every feeling, and even the small moments in between that made my day both challenging and exciting. Let's dive into my first real taste of Columbia life. Chapter 1. A City Morning and the Wrong Subway Stop. Today started at 6 a.m. in my cozy Morningside Heights apartment. My roommate, May, and I live in Hamilton Hall, just a block from Broadway. As usual, I woke up to the distant hum of the one train beneath our floorboards. I rolled over, blinked at the sunlight peeking through the curtains, and reached for my white headphones on the nightstand. I queued up a soft jazz playlist, my go-to to shake off New York City's early bustle. While the saxophone notes floated around me, I swung my legs out of bed and tied my hair into a loose ponytail. My planner lay open on my desk, and I checked today's schedule. 8:30 a.m. Introduction to Social Psychology, Lerner Hall. 10 a.m. Group Study Session at Butler Library, Room 319. 1 p.m. Lunch with the Psychology Club at John Jay Dining Hall. 3 p.m. Office Hours with Professor Nguyen in Schermerhorn Hall. 6 p.m. Latinx Heritage Month Empanada Booth on College Walk. 8 p.m. Reflection paper due on canvas. My heart fluttered with excitement and nerves. This was a packed day and my very first real day back on campus. After slipping into a warm gray sweater and my favorite black ankle boots, I grabbed my navy blue Columbia tote, my Dash Pass coffee voucher, and a reusable water bottle. May poked her head out of her room. "Big day, Diana?" she asked, adjusting her scarf in the hallway mirror. "Yeah, Introduction to Social Psych at 8:30, I said, scanning my planner again. "Wish me luck." "Good luck. Don't forget to grab breakfast." I dashed to the kitchenette, scooped a spoonful of instant oatmeal, and added sliced banana. At 6:30, I was out the door, locking the apartment behind me. On the subway platform at 116th Street, I practiced my English introduction under my breath. "Hi, Professor Nguyen. I'm Diana from Seoul." I paced, repeating key vocabulary: lecture, seminar, office hours, research, cultural psychology. These words felt heavy on my tongue, but necessary to master. The one train arrived with a rumble, and I squeezed aboard among the morning commuters clutching newspapers and coffee cups. After 2 stops, I realized I was on the local train heading downtown instead of Uptown Express. My stomach dropped. I yanked the emergency intercom handle. "Excuse me, this is the downtown train," I announced, voice trembling. The conductor crackled a response and apologized over the loudspeaker, directing me to transfer at the next stop. I bolted off at 110th Street, dashed up the stairs, and back down on the Uptown platform. The express train arrived seconds later. I squeezed on and finally felt the relief of heading the right direction. My phone buzzed. May texting, "Don't stress, you'll make it." I typed back, "I hope so," and took a deep breath. At 125th Street, I transferred to the M125 bus toward Morningside Drive. The bus crawled through Harlem, stopping at every corner. I tapped my MetroCard anxiously and held onto the railing as the driver navigated tight turns. I watched landmarks flash by: the Apollo Theater, the Studio Museum, and soon Columbia's iron gates appeared. I jumped off at the Butler Library stop and checked my watch. 8:25 a.m. Lerner Hall was half a mile away, up a gentle hill. I sprinted past the statue of Alma Mater gleaming in the morning light, past the fountain, where ducks sometimes linger, and past John Jay Dining, where students queued for brunch. My chest tightened, legs burned, but I didn't slow down. At 8:29 a.m., I burst through the double doors of Lerner Hall, sweat beading on my forehead. I leaned against the wall, gasping, and whispered, "Made it just in time." Chapter 2. Friendly Faces and First Lecture. Just as I caught my breath, a familiar voice called, "Diana?" I turned to see Rosa, student from my creative writing seminar last semester. She carried a Columbia-branded notebook and reusable water bottle. Rosa, I'm so glad to see you, I said, breathless. You look like you ran a marathon, she laughed. Wrong stop again? I nodded, showing her my crumpled schedule. She nodded sympathetically. Come on, I know a shortcut through the quad. It'll shave off 2 minutes. We arrived at Lerner Hall steps at 8:30. Inside, the classroom buzzed with excitement. I slid into a seat next to Rosa. Professor Nguyen entered with her energetic style bright scarf, voice that fills the room. She tapped the microphone and said, "Good morning, Lions. Welcome to Social Psychology. I'm Dr. Nguyen." She projected a slide titled Understanding Group Influence with colorful diagrams. I jotted down vocabulary: groupthink, social identity, conformity, obedience. She asked, "Has anyone ever felt peer pressure in a dorm event?" Almost every hand shot up. I hesitated, then raised mine. In my freshman dorm, everyone joined a midnight scavenger hunt. It felt impossible to say no because everyone else was playing. She nodded. Excellent example of normative influence. The discussion continued with experiments, student life, and Columbia stories. At 9:45, she wrapped up. Office hours today at 3 in Schermerhorn Hall, room 211, she said. My heart leapt. I definitely planned to go. Chapter 3. Java with the Professor and Building Community. After class, Rosa and I headed to Butler Library's cafe. We queued for oat milk lattes and grabbed seats by a window overlooking College Walk. Moments later, Dr. Nguyen appeared. "Diana, Rosa, mind if I join you? I'm Diana from Seoul. Thank you for the great lecture." We discussed cultural psychology and my study abroad plans. She suggested I apply as a research assistant in the social cognition lab. "It's competitive, but you have a unique perspective," she said. Students passed by with sushi rolls and shakes. The energy in Butler felt different, relaxed, collegial. Before leaving, Dr. Nguyen gave me a flyer. Join the Psychology Club's fall retreat at Eagles Point. Rosa and I walked through the quad. We passed a group serving free empanadas for Latinx Heritage Month. We stopped for one each and sat on the steps of St. Paul's Chapel. "Nothing like empanadas at Columbia," I laughed. In that moment, I felt woven into Columbia's rich tapestry. Friendships, mentorship, and food all coming together, it felt perfect. Chapter 4. Butler Library, Late Night and Tomorrow's Promise. Later that afternoon, I returned to Butler Library. I climbed to the 3rd floor and claimed a study carrel bathed in soft lamplight. I opened my laptop and set up the prompt. How do social networks shape behavior? At first, I stared at a blank screen. Then I reflected on my day, the subway ride, the sprint, Rosa, Dr. Nguyen, the empanadas. I typed. Today taught me that our environment, whether it's a crowded subway or a lively quad, guides our choices. Small acts of kindness, like Rosa showing me a shortcut, can change our entire experience. I added more detail: the rumble of trains, the tapping of keyboards, the whoosh of pages. Concepts like social facilitation, peer norms, collective efficacy. Campus life brought them to life. 2 hours later, I reread and submitted it 5 minutes before the deadline. I felt a wave of pride. I saved it to Canvas and stretched. Outside, New York shimmered. I walked past the columns of Gestern Hall, past John Jay's glowing windows. Back in Hamilton Hall, I lit my lamp and wrote in my leather journal. June 26, 2025. Survived a wrong subway ride and an M125 bus dash. Spoke up in Dr. Nguyen's lecture. Shared empanadas with new friends. Completed my first reflection paper. I changed into pajamas, placed my headphones on the nightstand, and crawled into bed. My phone's clock read 9:30 p.m. "Good night, Columbia," I whispered. Today was tough, but it was so much fun. I learned a lot, met amazing people, and grew a little braver. I'll be back soon with another story from Morningside Heights. Until then, stay curious, stay cozy, and keep practicing your English. See you next time! Let's look at some native expressions. 1. I totally misread the subway map, meaning I completely misunderstood or looked at the subway map incorrectly. 2. I was already running late, meaning I was behind schedule and didn't have enough time. 3. My stomach dropped, meaning I suddenly felt nervous, scared, or shocked. 4. You look like you ran a marathon, meaning you look very tired or out of breath, like after running a long race. 5. Don't stress, you'll make it, meaning don't worry, you'll arrive or succeed in time. 6. Made it just in time, meaning I arrived right before the deadline or just before it was too late. 7. It felt impossible to say no, meaning it was really hard to refuse because of pressure or social reasons. 8. I bit into the warm dough and let out a satisfied sigh, meaning I took a bite of delicious food and felt very happy or content. 9. I grew a little braver, meaning I became a bit more confident or courageous than before. 10. Wish me luck, meaning I'm asking for your good wishes before I try something difficult.